I'm about to trample on your feelings, not because I don't care about them, but because life doesn't. So if you hear anything that makes your blood boil, realize that life doesn't care about that too. Life just does what it does. And that's what brought you here. Because the motivation you had before abandoned you and took a one-way ticket flight back home. That vision board is rotting away in dust, and every good energy mantra you've repeated, yeah, life just called and it's laughing its ass off. Here's the thing about suffering. It doesn't knock politely. It kicks down your door at 3 a.m., stands over your bed and says, "Get up, fool. Class is in session." And no, you can't reschedule. Suffering strips you naked, throws you in front of a mirror, and forces you to look at who you actually are versus who you've been pretending to be when life was conveniently easy. Right now, someone watching this is getting absolutely demolished by life. And you're wondering if this is your villain origin story or your comeback arc. Drop a like if this already feels uncomfortably real. I need to know you're actually here and not just accidentally click to avoid doom scrolling. Comment where you're watching from. United States? UK? Some random village with poor Wi-Fi? I need to see exactly where this brutally honest wake-up call is landing across the globe. Subscribe if you're done with surface-level philosophy that sounds nice but changes nothing, and you're ready for the truths that actually build men instead of just entertaining them for the culture. Oh, and fair warning, one of these 7 points will probably offend you. Your ego will want to leave. Your comfort zone will scream for the exit. If you make it through without rage quitting, you're already tougher than the version of you that started watching. Let's see if you've got it. Number 1. Your suffering started in your comfort zone. Many people think their suffering is what plunged them into discomfort. If you still think that, then I have a shocker for you. Most of the challenges you experience now are not just because of the economy or the decision of your boss or that new government policy. They are as a result of staying too long in the comfort zone. It's like being unprepared for a debate and your opponent kicks your ass. You don't blame the universe or turn to people for sympathy, because sympathy does not fix problems. Rather, you blame yourself for not being ruthlessly prepared for the showdown. The person who defeated you left their comfort zone ages ago while others were relaxing. They were practicing long before the event was announced, and you wonder what made them so formidable. This is how life works. It is a constant series of tests and exams you have to always be prepared for. Life does not care how much you've saved in your account. When that medical emergency arises, you better know how to pay the bill. Life does not care if you were taught how to react to an emotional crisis. When it comes, you better know exactly what to do. Life does not care what you know about people. When betrayers cozy up to you, and they will, you better know how to discern them and tell them off. This is why you need to list every major crisis that can destabilize you and map out individual emergency response systems to counter them before they strike. Do you have the friends? Do you have the finances? Do you have the fortitude? This is how champions plan their lives. This is how you rule. Marcus Aurelius would wake up and remind himself he'd encountered difficult people. He didn't pray for easier days like we do. He prepared for harder ones, because asking for an easy life is literally asking to stay weak, and stay weak you shall. What comfortable habit is holding you hostage right now? Type it in the comments. Don't lie to me. Lie to yourself if you must, but we both know what it is. This brutal fire isn't trying to destroy you. It's conducting a quality check. And most of us are failing spectacularly. Number 2. Pain is temporary, but stupidity lasts forever. You can go through absolute hell and learn nothing. Millions do it every single day. They suffer, they survive, they crawl out, and then they immediately do the exact same dumb thing that threw them into hell in the first place. Different day, same dysfunction, new excuse with fresh packaging. Epictetus was born a slave. His master literally broke his leg. And instead of spending his freedom writing angry medium posts about oppression, he became one of history's most influential philosophers by teaching that you must control your response, not your circumstances. A former slave taught an emperor how to think. Let that marinate while you complain about your Wi-Fi speed. Here's the brutal reality. If you don't learn the lesson, life will keep re-enrolling you in the same course. Different relationship, identical dysfunction. Different job, same problems. Different city, same you with a new zip code. The pattern repeats until the lesson lands or until you die, whichever comes first. Think about every major failure in your life. Now ask yourself the real question, not why did this happen to me, but what was I supposed to learn that I refused to? I'm not talking about surface lessons like people suck or life's unfair. The actual lesson about your boundaries you won't set, your standards you won't enforce, your patterns you keep feeding like stray cats. Comment if you've ever repeated the same mistake because you were afraid of growth. This isn't about shame. It's about finally breaking the nervous cycle. The Stoics had this concept called Amor Fati, love of fate. Not just accepting what happens, but being genuinely grateful for it. Because everything that happens is either teaching something valuable or testing whether you learned the last thing. Your betrayal taught discernment. Your failure taught preparation. Your loss taught priority. But only if you were paying attention instead of numbing out with whatever distraction was closest. The expiration date on your suffering is the moment you extract the wisdom, not a second before. Some men spend decades in pain they could end by learning one simple lesson, but they refuse to learn, so they refuse to heal, and we wonder why therapy lasts forever. My next point will ruin your day, but I'd rather do that than feed you a lifetime of bollocks. Number 3, nobody is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your soulmate, not your therapist, your coach, your mentor, or that podcast guru you're parasocially attached to. Not karma, not justice, not anyone. Marcus Aurelius ruled the entire Roman Empire. He could have had anything, anyone, unlimited resources, and every morning he wrote in his journal to himself because he understood. At the end of the day, the only person guaranteed to show up is you. When life puts you on your knees, and it absolutely will, it's got that move perfected. There's this moment where you look around for rescue, for someone to fix it, to tell you it'll be okay, to do the heavy lifting. And when nobody shows up, that's not abandonment, that's graduation. Because the moment you stop waiting for rescue is the moment you become the person who doesn't need it. Epictetus told his students, "Don't wish for events to happen as you want, wish for them to happen as they should." Translation: stop waiting for perfect conditions before you start moving. The conditions will never be perfect. The help will never be sufficient. The moment will never feel right. You move anyway, terrified, uncertain, with shaking hands and a racing heart. You move. Here's what destroys most men. They spend their entire lives outsourcing their power, waiting for permission, waiting for validation, waiting for someone to believe in them before they'll believe in themselves. And then they die, still waiting. Their tombstone reads, "He was about to start, eventually, maybe next quarter." Your turn isn't coming, your turn is now, but you have to take it. Nobody's handing it to you with encouragement and a confidence boost. Type this in the comments: "I begin now." Even if you haven't fully started yet. Claim it. Program it in. When you realize nobody's coming, two things happen simultaneously. Terror, then freedom. Terror, because holy hell, it's all on you. Freedom, because holy hell, it's all on you. No more waiting, no more excuses, no more, if only someone would help out. Just you, your will, and the work. Number 4, your past self is sabotaging your future. Who's holding you back more, other people or the ghost of who you used to be? Most men are haunted by their former selves, the version that was comfortable, predictable, safe, the version that fit neatly into everyone's expectations and never colored outside the lines. When life shatters that version, when suffering burns it to ash, there's this desperate urge to rebuild it, to get back to normal, to resurrect who you were. Don't. That person couldn't handle what's coming. Heraclitus said, "You can't step in the same river twice. It's not the same river, and you're not the same man. Stop trying to wade into water that doesn't exist anymore." The Stoics understood attachment to your former self is a maximum security prison. You're not that person anymore. The pain you've survived fundamentally altered you at a cellular level. Trying to fit back into that old skin? That's like a butterfly trying to crawl back into the cocoon. It doesn't work. And trying makes you insane. Here's what happens when you worship your past self. You sabotage your future self. You make decisions based on who you were, not who you're becoming. You hold on to relationships that fit the old version but suffocate the new one. Comment this if you believe it. I'm not who I was, and I'm done apologizing for it. Marcus Aurelius meditated on impermanence daily. Yesterday's version was different from today's, and he didn't fight that evolution, he embraced it. The old you had limits you accepted, the old you had fears you accommodated. Then suffering came through like a wrecking ball and said, "We're upgrading the hardware." Painful? Absolutely. Necessary. More than you realize. The life waiting for you requires someone you haven't fully become yet. And the only way to become that person is to stop being the old one. Your old friends might not get the new you. Your family might prefer the predictable you. Society might be more comfortable with the you they could categorize. But you didn't survive hell just to live in heaven's waiting room. The enemy isn't out there. It's in your rearview mirror, begging you to turn around. My next point will wreck your entire self-improvement belief system. You're not ready for this one. Number 5. Rock bottom is the best place you'll ever find yourself. Rock bottom gets terrible PR. Everyone treats it like the final level of self-destruction, the worst-case scenario, where dreams die and men break permanently. Let me offer a different take. Rock bottom is the most brutally honest place you'll ever find yourself, and honesty, as it turns out, is the only foundation worth building on. At the bottom, the masks are gone. The performance is over. The pretending is physically impossible. You're stripped down to the raw truth about who you are and what actually matters. Epictetus was a crippled former slave. No status, no wealth, no power. Just philosophy born from suffering. And that philosophy, it guided emperors. It created more lasting impact than most men achieve with every advantage imaginable. The bottom didn't break him, it built him. Here's what happens at rock bottom that never happens at the top. Clarity. Brutal, undeniable, crystal clear clarity about what's real and what's performance art. At the top, you can lie to yourself. At the bottom, truth is the only thing that survives. You discover who your real friends are, what you actually believe when pressure maxes out, what you're truly made of when all the comfortable stories dissolve. The bottom teaches what the top can't, sufficiency. Because you can survive on way less than you thought. Truth. To know who actually cares versus who was just comfortable. Real strength. To face the uphill climb head-on and choosing to continue. Humility, because the arrogance of success gets beaten out. What remains is honest self-assessment. Think about buildings. The taller they need to rise, the deeper they dig. You're not at rock bottom because you failed. You're at rock bottom because life is digging the foundation deep enough to support the tower you're about to build. The bottom is only the end if you decide to set up camp there. Some men hit bottom and make it their identity. Others use it as a launching pad. Same bottom, different decisions, completely different outcomes. The view from the bottom shows you what's actually solid versus what only looks solid. What's worth building versus what's worth abandoning. who you actually are versus who you were performing as. The next one will puncture your ego where it hurts, but you will find peace and clarity when we're done. Number 6. Your unanswered prayers were intentional. What if everything you desired but didn't get was life-saving you from yourself? What if that relationship that didn't work out was blocking you from a nightmare you couldn't see yet? What if the job you didn't get was protecting you from a dead end that would have trapped you for a decade? What if your not yet wasn't rejection? It was development. The Stoics didn't pray for outcomes. They prayed for wisdom to handle whatever came, because they understood getting what you want before you're ready for it destroys you faster than never getting it at all. Look at lottery winners. Money arrives, life implodes. Why? They received the blessing before they developed the capacity to handle it. Wealth without wisdom becomes a burden. Success without character becomes prison. Love without self-knowledge becomes mutual destruction. Marcus Aurelius didn't become emperor until his 40s. Decades of preparation, studying philosophy, developing character. If he'd gotten the throne at 20, Rome would have had a disaster, not a philosopher king. The delay wasn't denial, it was development. Right now you're frustrated with timing, with closed doors, with prayers bouncing off the ceiling, and you're asking, why not now? Why do I have to wait? Because you aren't ready, and this version of you might fumble it, waste it, maybe destroy it. Comment if this stings. The delay is the preparation. Even if you're angry about it, your suffering right now is building your testimony, the thing you'll one day teach from, the story that'll inspire someone else standing where you're standing. But you can't teach what you haven't lived, and you can't receive what you haven't prepared for. Your not yet is your preparation period, and the length of that period isn't punishment, it's proportional to what's coming. If what you're waiting for is big, and based on how much it hurts to wait, it is big, then the preparation has to match. Most men spend the waiting period complaining about the wait, wasting preparation time, wishing they were at the destination. But the waiting is the destination. The man you become while waiting is more important than the thing you're waiting for. The delay is the gift. That's life saying, I hear you, I see what you want, I'm giving it to you, but first you need to become someone who can actually keep it. Number 7 will plunge you into flashbacks of embarrassment, but I'm handing you the keys to stay ahead of it henceforth. Ready? Number 7. Hard times expose your dirty laundry to the world. Here's the nightmare nobody warns you about. Suffering doesn't just test you, it exposes you. Live in HD. For everyone you know, all those personality traits you've been hiding, the character flaws you've managed with good circumstances, the weakness you've been covering with privilege and things going your way. Hard times rip the curtain down. Surprise! The audience gets front row seats. Most men don't fail when life gets hard, they fail when life gets hard in public. Suddenly the mask slips, and the real person underneath, the one they've been hiding since circumstances were easy, gets revealed to everyone, including their therapist. These are the issues. Seneca said, "Calamity is virtue's opportunity." Not because suffering makes you virtuous, but because it reveals whether you had any virtue to begin with. Plot twist. Most of you don't. When your job is secure, generosity is easy. When your relationship is smooth, patience is effortless. When money's flowing, humility is just great personal branding. Strip away the favorable conditions, hard times show the unedited cut. The person you actually are when the props get removed and your PR team goes home. Here's the brutal part. Hard times don't just expose weakness. They expose whether your character was real or just rented for good weather. Are you disciplined because you have principles, or because motivation and easy circumstances were doing all the heavy lifting? Hard times answer this question whether you're ready or not. Here's what weak men do when suffering arrives: blame, rage post about injustice, perform their pain for sympathy, let their standards collapse because of circumstances. And everyone watching learns exactly who they are, someone who only functions on easy mode. But the man who loses everything and maintains integrity, who faces betrayal without becoming bitter, who gets knocked down and stands back up with the same values, that man just told everyone everything about his character without saying a word. This is the real test. Will your circumstances determine your character, or will your character determine how you handle circumstances? Most fail spectacularly. They abandon principles for comfort, betray values for relief, sacrifice who they claim to be for whatever makes the pain stop. Everyone's watching, your kids, your partner, your friends, taking notes on who you actually are versus who you perform during the good times. You can't fake character under pressure. You either have it or you don't. Hard times are the X-ray machine showing everyone, including you, what's really there. When hard times reveal you, will they reveal someone who crumbles when comfort disappears, or someone built on something solid enough to withstand any storm? So there you have it. 7 truths that probably made you uncomfortable. Perfect. That's the entire point. Suffering doesn't ask permission, but it does offer transformation to a version of yourself your current self can't even imagine yet. The question isn't whether hard times will come. They're probably already here. The question is, what are you building with them? Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, they didn't philosophize from ivory towers. They lived in exile, slavery, war and loss. And they came out teaching the rest of us how to stand when everything tries to knock us down. Your move.